Hey guys, welcome back to Rumor and Theory. Today we're breaking down the craziness that was episode 5 of WandaVision, getting into first the major revelations, then into the hidden meanings, and then into some of my own personal theories about what we can expect in the next few episodes. Let's get into it. Alright, so first we're going to break down the major revelations of this episode, and there were a lot. I mean, for the lack of revelations we got last week, this week it just is full of them. So let's get into it, break it down, and see what we got. So the first major revelation that we came across here is that Wanda cannot control Tommy and Billy. We get a glimpse of this at first when she tries to put them asleep with her powers and can't. And then we see this further when they age themselves from babies to toddlers. And Agnes has a line where she says, "Kids can't control them, no matter how hard you try," which I believe has a hidden meaning, obviously, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. And again, later on, when Wanda is talking to Tommy and Billy about Sparky dying, and she is asking them and kind of pleading to them not to age themselves up right now to get over the grief of Sparky passing away. And that again shows how she is not controlling them or has no control over them. Again, we'll touch on this a little bit later because I think I know who does have control over them or maybe wants to gain control over them. And I think you guys might know too, but we'll get back to that in a little bit. Next is Wanda breaking into S.W.O.R.D. and stealing Vision's body. So this is a major revelation because it's against Vision's will, it's against the Sokovia Accords. And that's important because Wanda, I don't think, would do this unless she's being forced to. So she may have made a deal that was bigger than we expected, and it's forcing her to do these things in compliance with maybe Mephisto or someone else controlling not her actions per se, like 100%, but forcing her to do those things because she knows what she's doing and she can see that she might be harming people, but she's still doing it. So that tells me that she's doing it because there's something bigger going on that we can't see, and her purpose might be benevolent in the end. And another thing is that maybe Mephisto or someone in the background is pushing her to do these things to make her look more villainous to S.W.O.R.D. or other people that he or she wanted to look villainous towards. So we'll see who comes up in the next few episodes, but there are rumors and theories about Hayward and other characters that might be villains working in the forefront as in disguise. So the next big thing would be Norm being awakened by Vision, and this is big because that power that Vision used was directly linked or resourced from the Mind Stone. So that tells you that even though the Mind Stone was taken back by Captain America at the end of Endgame and put back in 2012, that somehow Vision has that Mind Stone in his head, and it is the Mind Stone. Whether it's a copy of the Mind Stone that Wanda created, or whether she pulled it from a different reality, that is the Mind Stone, and he is using its powers on Norm to break him out of whatever hold he is in by Wanda or the person controlling Wanda. So we will definitely see, based off the trailers, where that Mind Stone came from, and I'm super curious, as I am sure you are too. The next big revelation is Wanda breaking through the Hex force field and tossing that drone back to S.W.O.R.D. and confronting them. That tells us she knows what's going on again, and that she's doing these things to protect her home, but I believe also in order to protect everyone else from a bigger threat that we're not aware of yet. Because even though she's making enemies of people that she used to be friendly with, I think there's a bigger picture that she sees that no one else sees, and it's forcing her to be okay with these actions in the present time. So we'll see what happens and where this leads to, but I don't think she is going to be a full-blown villain with full control over her actions and doing them knowing how harmful they are. We will see, but I can't see that happening. The last thing about this scene is when she returns, she kind of turns the Hex from clear, like rainbowy, glittery type of color to red. And I think that signifies something huge and will be a major revelation in the future. and I will touch on that in my theory section later on in the video. The next major revelation is Vision becoming more aware of what's going on in Westview and confronting Wanda, and Wanda breaking down saying she has no idea how this started in the first place, and she's challenging Vision on the fact that she has control over everyone in the town because she claims she does not. And this is a major revelation because, one, Mephisto has a power to make the deal, make the person who he made a deal with forget that the deal was ever made in the first place. So that's again hinting at Mephisto. And two, it shows that Wanda is a little more innocent in this than we think, although it does point that her powers are being used to create what's going on, which may be unknown to her completely. So we'll have to see later, maybe next episode, where she breaks down a little further to see exactly where her thoughts are within all of this and how she portrays what's going on in Westview. And finally, the major revelation is Pietro showing up. And not just Pietro, but Evan Peters' Pietro, Quicksilver, from the X-Men universe. Now, we'll touch on a few theories of mine about this in that section later on in the video. But right now, I just want to say it's a major revelation because of the connection between the MCU and the Fox universe, and the fact that this just shows that mutants are in the same world or reality as our current heroes are and have been in the past movies and MCU. So that's pretty awesome. I have some theories and some other thoughts about that later on in the video, so if you want to jump ahead, go ahead. But they're pretty awesome, and I think they're pretty right on, so we'll see. One of the key revelations of this entire episode is when they figure out that Wanda is rewriting reality and not changing it, when they shoot the pants made out of Kevlar. Now, these are just items that are going in from the current time period and being changed to whatever time period the sitcom is in Westview. So I think these items are being changed, but I also think that new items inside Westview are being manifested, such as the children, and even the collar for the dog. Those are being created from nothing and just using Wanda's powers either to create material items or, that's how it has to be, to create material items. So there's two things going on. Warping old future items into the current time period and creating new items. So she has two powers, and I don't want that to get confused because she's not just changing current items inside Westview, she's also creating items herself. All right, now into the hidden meanings I found when I was diving deep into the episode. First is the mention of Charles Darwin, The Descent of Man. So that book is about human evolution, pretty much, without any spiritual or anything else like religious guiding that evolution, just from two different kind of primates that Darwin theorized about. And the fact that it has to do and kind of emphasizes that there's no spiritualness or religious aspects to this evolution theory, I think it's just hinting towards, first of all, the creation of the boys, the twins, and the creation of Vision being unnatural and not a normal existence. The next hidden meaning I saw is the brush painting the color onto Vision. It was wrapped around Wanda's red magic, and it was painting color into Vision, kind of like a metaphor for her bringing life back to Vision from when he was dead. So from gray and unanimated back to color, as you see him now in the series, and how he was being painted. Another one is when the kids are asking Wanda about her brother, and she says, when asked if she had one, that I do instead of I did, kind of hinting at Pietro's appearance later on in the episode, but also hinting to the audience that something's changed, because she should not be saying that she does, because he's obviously dead. So I think it was just a foreshadowing of what was to come in at the end of the episode. So another hidden meaning I saw was when Wanda got her accent back. I think that whoever was controlling her, when they forced her to go out and confront Sword, they kind of changed her accent from being American to being Sokovian. And I think that the person controlling her did this because they want her to seem like more of a threat. And to those people, a foreign entity might seem like more of a threat. Another hidden meaning I think that might show up in the series later on, but not right away and isn't very obvious, might be that when she changed that Hex force field to red, I think she might have been solidifying its reality and kind of breaking into a new one, or solidifying it as a new reality, and kind of cracking the current world's reality. And which is why after that scene, we get that big cameo later on in the episode from Pietro. So we'll see further down the line, but I think she might have cemented her reality as real in that moment, thus breaking the current reality of the real world and allowing a window into it, which is where Pietro might have came from. And which might have been whoever's controlling her in the background, like Mephisto or Nightmare. It might have been their, or one of their main goals. And one of the last things I want to talk about with hidden meaning is the whole storyline with the dog. I think it was created by whoever's in the background, Mephisto or Nightmare or someone else, maybe Cthulhu. I think they manifested that whole storyline to manipulate Wanda into picturing and thinking about bringing Pietro back, because all the dialogue in that scene hint at, like, they say, please bring him back, and things like that, hint, not specifically naming the dog, but kind of putting an idea in Wanda's head that she could bring her brother back from the dead. And in the next scene, of course, or a scene close to this one, we do get her brother brought back, which is another manipulation by whoever is in the background, and thus we'll find out why he's actually here. Alright, and finally into my favorite part of the video, the theories. So my first theory is that Agnes is actually put into Westview to pit Vision against Wanda. And I think this is the case because Mephisto knows that Vision might be the only person close enough to Wanda to control her once she breaks. And I think Mephisto or Nightmare or whoever is in the background and working with Agnes want Scarlet Witch to break, and thus forcing multiple realities into one, or cracking gateways into a reality, or something of that sort. Which is why we see Agnes kind of coming out of character and confronting Vision's break of line towards Wanda, and kind of opening the idea of something being kind of peculiar even further into Vision's mind, forcing him to confront her later in the episode. My next theory is that the aerospace engineer that Monica mentions and texts to come help Sword actually is possibly one of three people. I think it could be Reed Richards, Riri Williams, or possibly even Hank McCoy with the appearance of Pietro at the end of the episode. We'll have to see, but it would be amazing, in my opinion, if it was Reed Richards, and maybe even John Krasinski as Reed Richards, because the fans would know who that was right away when he just showed up on screen. It's been a fan casting for years and would just blow the minds out of all the fans, and could be what Elizabeth Olsen was talking about, although I don't personally think that would be what she was talking about. I think it's someone else, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But yeah, I think it would be awesome if it was Reed Richards. And my final theory is that Pietro is actually under the same spell as the other citizens of Westview, and in the next episode, or maybe the episode after, we will see Vision break into the mind of Pietro and snap him out of it, kind of awaken him like he did to Norm, and find out that Pietro is actually from that Fox universe. It won't be mentioned as the Fox universe, but he will mention characters and events from that universe. He will say he doesn't know where he came from, and hint further at those realities connecting, or timelines connecting. So it will be really interesting to see what happens. Maybe he even tries to get back to his reality by doing a type of Flash thing where he runs as fast as possible and kind of tries to break through time, and then Wanda tries to stop him, and that's what cracks reality. I really don't know, but that would be pretty cool. So we will see, but my theory is that he is under the same spell as the Westview citizens, and Vision will awaken him, and we'll find out how he got there, or where he has been, or where he came from in the next episode, or maybe episode 7. Alright guys, that's it for this one. Please like and subscribe for future content, and I'll see you in the next video. Let's get out of here.